I'm not going to necessarily wait for a bunch of viewers. I'll post this. But thank you for, if anyone who has joined, for viewing Doing It Blind with Jason. Quite often you see a bunch of cooking videos and everything else on here, things I do blind. But today, it's what I'm viewing in the world today as blind. I'm up here in Canada and I watch a lot of the Canadian news. Firstly, the Canadian news has got to quit flooding us with American news when there's Canadian events going on. We're interested in what goes on in the States, but let's report the news after it happens instead of spending a bunch of time with talking heads telling us what they think is going to happen. Report the news. We don't need to hear what they think Mr. Trump is going to say, what they think Mr. Putin or Mr. Zelensky are going to say. Let's report the results. Let's report the news. Let's not speculate. Quit feeding people's heads with a bunch of speculation and educated guesses. I'm not saying it's hogwash, but it's hogwash. Let's report the news that's happening in Canada today. Today being um, August 18th, there's an important by-election going on in Alberta. We're barely touching on that. Air Canada, their union is holding Canadian citizens hostage in order to get a better pay package. And yes, I do I do agree that nobody should work for free, but they're feeding us a false narrative using what I call trucker math. When I was a trucker, we did it all the time. We were paid by the mile. Then we would sit there and calculate the amount of money we made on a trip and count in all the freebies, including the time we sat at the dock, including the time we had to sit at the truck stop, including the time that we weren't allowed to drive by law. And it would take our wage and it would dwindle it down to like $6 an hour, but we call that trucker math. So the stewardesses are doing the same thing. Hey, it's easy. It's easy to do, and it's easy to grab at people's heartstrings. They are being paid a fair wage. It's a really awesome job. They even say it's an awesome job. Hey, I don't do it. I don't want to do it. But let's let's feed Canadians news instead of speculation and experts and getting opinions. The news isn't opinions, and you never see them getting the opinions of the general public. And yeah, I'm blind, but I don't see any opinions of real Canadian citizens. They're all um, professors at universities and lawyers and economists and people who specialize in coming up with opinions. Let's see what the average Canadian citizen sitting at home has to say. And I'm tired of the hypocrisy and the ability for people to be able to hold citizens hostage or and be passive aggressive. We were told during the trucker convoy that the blocking of bridges was illegal because it was blocking infrastructure. Hey, as a past trucker of 20 years, I 100% agree. That was against my beliefs. You should never block infrastructure. You should never block the rail. You should never block bridges. The Canadian economy, 40 million people depend on their livelihoods for the Canadian economy. Every man, woman, and child depends on that economy to move. So, airlines, put your planes back in the fucking air. Let's deal with this as adults. Air Canada, get your people back at the table. Union, get your people back at the table. Let's get this dealt with without stranding Canadian citizens who have needs, who have places to be for things like surgeries and to get back to their jobs, to get back to their livelihoods. And don't forget, stewardesses, as you're being on strike, you're the mechanics, the pilots, the food service workers, they're all not getting paid as well. You are holding up a segment of Canadian economy doing this. Like when the truckers were holding up the economy, the country went mad and said you can't do that. So why are they allowing the union to defy a government order, which is what Chris Barber's being charged with, counseling to defy a government order, but the leader of QP from the airline segment is not being charged with defying counseling to defy a government order when he told them, no, we don't have to go back to work even though the government said so. I don't necessarily agree with being legislated back to work, but that is the law of the land, folks. We have to be law abiding citizens. And when we break the law, there's consequences. Let's get the economy rolling with what's going on with our trade scenario with the United States and with China. We can't sabotage ourselves as Canadians. And this is the way I see it. I watch the news a lot. I pay attention to what's going on. I don't want to vilify anybody, but let's get back to the table. Holding Canadians hostage so you can get a better pay package. They admit they turned down 38%. Air Canada said they were going to cover them for their ground time. It's a start, it's a change. Truck drivers used to not get paid while they were sitting at the dock for the first 2 hours. That has changed. There's evolution, but we don't rewrite history in a day. Industry doesn't change in a day. Don't forget, Air Canada or the CUPE, when your members are getting a better pay rate, the citizens have to pay a higher ticket price. And hey, don't think you're off the hook, Air Canada. You should not be getting bonuses from government bailout money. Your guys' bonuses are a little bit out of hand. So take that into account. But we can't be holding up the Canadian economy over this little spat. Let's get the planes back in the air. Let's service Canadians because Canadians come first. Whatever happened to Canadians band together, Canadians strong, Canadians one and all for everyone. It's instead of this little selfish selfish act. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. Look forward to more of them because really, uh, this is my point of view as a blind person. This is what I see. This is what I'm hearing when I'm watching the news. This is the world around us as the Canadian society needs to be banding together to be one Canada, and we divide and we we spat and we spit each other and we don't find a way to find common ground. So let's come together, Canada, instead of creating these little divisions and quit holding each other hostage when we want something better for ourselves. And I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. I will like, subscribe, share, and really, dudes, if you don't like and you don't want to watch me, that's okay too. But if you do want to see more of this, um, let me know because I'm full of lots of insights and and yeah, lots of words about the way I see it as a blind person. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe.